Hi guys, welcome back to the First Half Podcast. We are here again to share our opinions on football. I'm here with my brother
Dennis.
and I'm Patrick. Patrick. Charlie, bro, how you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm not bad. We are still enjoying some beautiful football nowadays. Yeah,
the football news is coming rapidly.
Rapidly. I'm even surprised. This year has been very eventful.
Yeah, exciting. For podcasters like ourselves, it gives us more to share our opinions on. And more content for you guys.
So, the table is turning out very interesting.
Okay.
The top level of the table is also quite interesting. You know? And I would want us to delve into it and look at how the race is going so far. Some may say that it's a top 5 race. Yeah. But now I believe it's a top 4 race.
Okay.
Maybe we can discuss that later on in our discussions.
Yeah.
So, who grabbed the 2 spots left? It's quite tight. No doubt, everybody that's watching this podcast knows I'm a Liverpool fan.
Okay.
I'm happy about where we are. But then I am not too. I won't be too, comfortable to say that it's ours for the taking.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. We have 12 more games to go.
12 more games.
Yeah.
And mathematically, it's not over.
It's actually not over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then what would you think? Because I think that anything can happen within those 12 games. I am very confident that Liverpool won't slip.
Yeah.
However, there's the EPL. Anything can happen. So the 2 top spots at the top, what do you think? Who do you think is likely to grab them?
Well, I think when it comes to the top spot, as in the first, the winner is almost done because, like I said, if Liverpool doesn't win this season, it would be the worst bottle job we've ever seen.
Yeah.
At this point, it's really, when we talk about being in your hands to lose it,
that's what it means.
What we mean.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting that within the next 6 games they can actually wrap it up because I can't see Arsenal putting.
So not to cut you, when you say within the next, you mean if we win the next 6 games?
Yeah. You
think it's a done deal?
Yes, because
regardless of the results from the other teams,
I see Arsenal dropping, but I don't see them consistently putting a 6-game win together because when it comes to their top of the team in terms of the scoring goals, they are lacking. So that is where it becomes a challenge for them, and they are conceding goals as well.
Yeah, they are.
So for that reason, we can't guarantee that they can be able to push you guys. If you look at the table right now, they are actually closer to 10th position than the top.
So it's interesting about the table.
Exactly. When you talk about top 4, you may think the first 2 spots is gone. But I can see if Arsenal is not careful, they could be pulled into the lip mist and then they can be part of the top 4 competition. Although I still think they can be able to pull through because they've amassed enough points to be able to stay there. But if you look at the 4th position, which is 47 by Man City, and then 54, they having 54. That means that, they are not very far away from being part of the top 4 race. So they need to really put their act together so that we can comfortably say that the first 2 points is taken. The positions are gone. And then we have about, almost 7 or 6 teams fighting for the top 4, and it's going to be very, very interesting in the next 12 games.
It will. Yeah. I think that Arsenal should be actually very careful.
Okay.
And as much as the last Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest, Newcastle punished Nottingham Forest very badly, I still think that Nottingham Forest is a force to reckon with, and Arsenal should be careful.
Yeah.
However, even if you look at the top 4 spot, Manchester City is still not at its best.
No, they're not.
So if we come back and we are playing good football, that is Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea can actually get into the top 4 and kick Man City out. By the time the season ends, I am actually expecting a lot of surprises in the top 4.
There's going to be a lot of mix-ups. A lot of mix-ups
because there are people who are patiently waiting in that line from the 2nd or the 3rd to the 10th position.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, nobody is saying that, it's a done deal now. And a lot of these teams now really want to play Champions League football.
Of course. The revenues that come with it are quite good for most of these teams, especially with those who are very low budget.
Exactly.
I think like Bournemouth, who are up there, have so much of a low budget that if they're able to add Champions League to whatever they earn from the Premier League, it makes a big difference for the club. They're able to now bring in very good players that basically guarantee them staying up in the Premier League and possibly even always being a competitor, a contender for Europe.
Yeah, but sometimes my issue all the time is you have these for want of a better word, these little clubs who get into the top 4 and go into Champions League and don't really perform. So I'm like, I mean, what is the struggle to get there if you're not going to show up actually? But then again, it's good for their confidence level.
I don't think
it's good for the club.
They go in there and they are naive to think that they will win it because they know they don't have the capacity to win in Europe. Yeah. But for the fans being able to experience it, even their localities, bringing Champions League to some of their localities, the economic benefits. And then for the teams themselves, being able to host 2 games in their...
That's more money.
That's a lot of money for them. So, I mean, there's no reason why you don't want to go in there and get what the financial benefits bring.
But by looking at the table as well, I mean, we can't discuss the table looking at how well some of these teams are doing and forget about their coaches. Because these teams are doing so well because of the kind of coaches they have. And coaches bring about strategy. Coaches bring about confidence in the team and the players and all that. So we can take it from the top.
Well, for me, I think when you are looking at the coaches, you need to break it down. We have 2 categories. You have coaches who are in their first season. And we have coaches who have a lot of experience in the Premier League. So if you take a coach like Nuno, Nuno has vast experience in the Premier League where he started from Wolves.
To Tottenham.
After Wolves, he came to Tottenham, went to the Saudi Pro League, and he's back. One thing that was baffling is why he didn't do so well at Spurs. But Spurs is Spurs. A lot of big coaches.
Spurs is Spurs.
No, I mean, it's been proven over the years.
Are you saying their problems have nothing to do with a coach?
It doesn't look like, because we have serial winners like Conte and Mourinho go in there,
still do anything,
and they still couldn't get a trophy in there.
That's quite interesting, eh?
Mourinho took them to a final, and he was sacked before the game.
Can you imagine?
So
Spurs has their own peculiar. One day we should delve into their matters and discuss it and see what exactly the problem is.
What Nuno has benefited from with Forest is that Forest is a team that's prepared to spend. Since they were promoted to the Premier League, they spent a lot of money to basically overhaul their entire squad, bring in very young players. And what they are doing that is great is that they are actually scouting from the academies or the younger players from the big teams. So you see Elanga, who has come from United. Hassan Odoi, who has come from Chelsea. Their captain now, this guy, what's his name? He has come from Wolves, from the academy. White. So you can see they have put together a very, almost, you can say they are experienced but very young. And
they have their experienced guy at the front.
Yes, and the experience in the Premier League. And with Wood up top, they're able to actually they can cause you harm.
A lot of harm.
So Nuno has put some very, very good team together. And if you are actually not careful, they are going to disgrace you. They're actually the only team that have been able to pull a win from Liverpool. So that says a lot.
That game, in fact, they took us by surprise. It was a 1-0 game at Anfield. So. And after that game, I've always respected them so much. They are so technically disciplined.
Very, very.
Everybody make sure their role is well taken care of. When they have to fall back, they fall back. When they're going, they move together. So it's very interesting. So
one area that they've actually really invested in very well is that they have some very good talent in defense. These guys are very experienced, and they are able to really show up the defense in such a way that the young boys up front are able to go out there and do their work.
And still feel comfortable at the back.
So that is really going well. And I don't, everybody's expecting them to drop out of the top 4. But with 12 games to go, if they're able to keep their calm and they are not put under pressure, and Nuno has experience to be able to do that, they could actually hold on to the spot and be able to do great. Currently, they sit third. And it will take a lot to actually get them out of there. So let's see how that goes.
So I mean, it's good you started from Nuno. So let's look at another coach who I think for me has done fairly very well. Let's look at Maresca. Maresca brought in some wonderful energy into the boys that he had at Chelsea. And I think for playing about 27 games so far. I think they've played about 27 games so far. And 13 wins. It's not bad.
It's not bad, but you see, for a team like Chelsea who are used to winning, the moment you see that you lost, I think currently out of the 27 games, we've lost 7.
7 of those
and
games.
For that, I mean, any Chelsea fan who is used to winning is going to raise an eyebrow. But you see, that's where we call on the directors to take responsibility, because you brought in a very inexperienced coach. His only experience was in the Championship, and you have also put together.
Are we counting his experience with mainstream coaching.
Mainstream coaches, coaching. I mean, since he was with City, he went to the championship, brought Leicester up, and then they went for him. So basically, you need to have done a lot of research to put a club like Chelsea in his hands. So 27 games, if you lost 7, drawn 7, it's still quite low for Chelsea standard, but we can say it's a first season.
Yeah, first season.
So we can say, let's look at how that goes from now. But I think we Chelsea fans, I think we're carried away because the first half of the season he did extremely well, and we were hoping that it will carry on. But I think as much as we're hoping, we're also cautiously expecting that we knew that, okay, let's not get carried away. So for me, he's done not bad, but for the size of the club, if he was still at Leicester, this would be excellent results. But for Chelsea, the demands are higher, and he needs to up his game to be able to keep us. If he's able to hold on and get into top 4, I think it would have been a good season. Especially if he's able to win the European the
Europa.
Not Europa, Conference League.
The Conference League.
Yes.
So I mean, my personal opinion about him, I think he's done so well. Yes, but of course, comparing it to what the Chelsea of yesterday is expecting, maybe we might say, but I think we should give him another season. And I mean, you did an interesting comparison between him and Leicester, and that brings into the question of the performance of Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yes,
because you know, just before he left Manchester United, we were seeing him as a god, because all of a sudden, Charlie, Manchester showed up and they were playing so well.
Some good football.
I think he has not had the best of times at Leicester City. I expected that. You know, people thought that because he performed so well at Manchester United for those 2-3 games,
he should have been given the job.
He should have been given a job. But then I think Leicester was a good enough grounds for him to start something for an EPL league like this. Of that.
Well, to be fair to him, when he wasn't given the job, I think he was humble enough to say he was prepared to join Amorim's squad and coaching staff, just to help and also learn. So maybe he knew that he was not 100% ready for a mainstream role. But I think Leicester, based on the few games he got in Manchester United, I think the details they didn't look at was that the quality of players in United was slightly different
from that of Leicester.
Exactly. So since he's come in there out of 16 games to win 3,
that's terrible.
That's horrible.
But do you think they'll let him go, or maybe they'll say that he didn't come early in the season, so they're going to give him another season?
You see, Leicester has been a team that since they came up, they've done wonders to the point where they won the league. So the expectations are quite high. A lot of investment have gone in since.
Are still high at Leicester?
Since they actually won the league, I think a lot of investment have gone in. Yes, they lost their chairman, and that has actually brought a bit of instability. Nobody expected them to go down, but it will be quite catastrophic for them to go down again. And as to whether they can hold on, it's questionable. It's quite. I
think are they in the relegation zone?
They are in the relegation zone now,
which is quite well, because they just came from there, and because to concede 35 goals in a season, it's quite problematic, you know. So I think that maybe at the end of the day, maybe he might perform better with them at Championship and bring them back to the EPL, and
but they can't afford to go down again. They can't.
But I think now it's too late, though.
Oh no!
If you look at the table,
Wolves are just I think 4 points above them, and if they're able, 5 points. If they're able to actually push themselves with the last 12 games, anything can happen. Because with all these teams who are fighting for top 4, having to play those at the bottom, if they're able to actually what's on the table, if they're able to actually,
because you know we are talking about the top 4, but the relegation zone on the table is also quite very interesting. You know? So we're expecting that. I mean, a lot of changes will come up at the relegation zone of the table, because it's not also done and dusted at that stage.
It's not. If you're not careful, you can actually be pulled back in, and you need to be able to push yourself. Because it's sad for Leicester. I really like Leicester. I think they still have some really good players in there, and if they're able to push themselves well, sitting just a few points off Wolves and Ipswich, they should be able to do something.
So, I mean, I think Ipswich plays very good football. I don't know what happens during that game, but they play so well, but at the end of the day, it doesn't go too well.
Yeah.
Southampton has been terrible.
Southampton has not really shown up.
They've been terrible this season.
Terrible. I don't know. They sacked the coach, and then they brought in another coach who has not lifted anything in that club.
I'm nothing. But those times to play Southampton wasn't a joke. I don't know why
they stayed in the league for a very long time before they were relegated. But I think they lost most of their quality players, and now they are supposed to try and rebuild, but it's not looking good.
So what I mean, I'll put you on the spot now, and I want to ask you your opinion on who do you think gets relegated, the 3 teams that goes.
Okay, so right now the 4 down there are Southampton, Ipswich, and Leicester and Wolves. Between Wolves and Leicester, although my heart moves for Leicester,
why? What's the reason? Maybe I want to share.
We got Kane from them, so it makes it special for me. So as much as I would love them to stay, I just think that Wolves are slightly better than them. I don't see Wolves going down.
It will really help me if Wolves goes down, because that striker, Kane, Charlie, I like that guy. Yeah. And I think that he's one of those players that if the team should go to relegation, top teams should go for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whether they stay
or they go,
the teams are going to go for him. But the only thing is that if they are relegated, they don't get good money for him.
I mean, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. But if they stay, they could actually get, definitely he's leaving.
Yeah.
And they renewed his contract, so obviously means that they get good money. But if they are relegated, already the player is going to agitate to leave.
Yeah.
And they are going to have to let him go for peanuts.
So you are saying that for the top 4, you're expecting Ipswich, Southampton, and Leicester and Wolves to go.
Yes. Yes, I think Leicester will go.
Okay. All right. Then that's fine. I also have a little issue.
Yes.
With one of the clubs in the EPL.
Okay.
And maybe we'll have to delve into that. We will talk about Tottenham.
Okay.
And their coach.
Yes.
Tottenham has not done that bad for the past 2 seasons.
Okay.
When I say that's bad, I'm just trying to compare their previous performance.
Okay.
But with this particular season, Postecoglou, Charlie, I don't know whether it's a style of play that is not working. That's one. Yeah. I don't know if it's an issue of the players, and they've gotten a lot of injuries, to be fair to them. Most of their top players are not there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he has played 23 games.
Yeah.
He has won 7.
Yeah, that's
and he has lost 13.
Yeah.
That's Tottenham.
Yeah. You see, he didn't do himself any favors when he came out to say he is Postecoglou, and every time he's joined a team, his second season,
he was running his mouth.
He wins a trophy. And when now you look at these stats and what he has produced,
he shot himself in the foot.
It becomes very
embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
But at least he gets to hide behind the injuries. For you to have your whole back line injured, it's crazy.
So much inexperience.
But then again, his style of play, this high line that the defenders have to go all the way to the halfway line and run back to come and defend. I mean, it's going to basically expose you, and you're going to have so many injuries. So he needs to adapt, because it's so easy to score against them.
Yeah.
Because if you are a defender, if you're a defender and you are not fit and you are not fast enough, this kind of style of play you are not going to. But he doesn't seem. I don't get this thing about coaches who don't want to adapt. This is my style, whether you like it or not. You have to play. Even when you've lost your defenders to injuries, why are you not adapting?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, but I also sometimes think that when coaches choose not to change their style, it simply means that they believe that is what will work for them. But then sometimes I don't know if the communication between coaches and the captain of the team actually is effective enough. Because sometimes if you're a new coach that comes to the team and you come and meet some of these players, the captain might tell you that, this is our strength. So if the first style that you're coming with is not going well, can we try this and see how it works, So that is where I feel that sometimes coaches need to communicate much more. To see, especially when you're a new coach in the EPL and you just come in to take over a team. Because I get very sad for a player like Son.
I think for Son, he should have left. He should have left. But you see, you can see that he's a loyal guy.
Extremely.
He's someone that you can see that once he gives you his word, he's going to stick by it. But let me ask you a question. these coaches who are so adamant on their style and not wanting to change, is it a fear of change, stubbornness, or what is it?
Okay, I don't think it's more of stubbornness. You know, when you've achieved so much in your job or in your career, and you believe that this particular style is what has taken you to where you are now, it's very difficult for you to just meet anybody and person say change your style and you do that. But you know, yesterday one of our episodes we're talking about how coaches are a bit softer now and back then they were very strict. I think that the push of some of the coaches to change because you know players are a bit more advanced now. And sometimes the player knows his or her strength.
The football is now more a science.
It's
data.
More a science,
There's data.
So then if I'm a winger and you feel as though that the formation you are playing now and I have to come and play a left back position and I'm not delivering, you can't say that your player is not good. You know, so sometimes I think they should find a way of maybe adapting to the kind of players they have in the team. Because the players that you have at your disposal should determine your formation.
True.
You know, but some coaches decide not to change. It works for some coaches. They say this is my style, I'm not changing it, and they're able to get the results.
Their way,
But it's not all the time, you know.
Of course not.
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what you think. I was going to ask you about this. Do you think they should still keep this Tottenham coach or they should let him go?
Well, I think with the injuries, I would give him another year because
this is the second year, right?
Yes, but if you let him go, who are you going for? And I think for what has also not helped is that the recruitment has been very poor. Very poor. You know, so if you look at some of the players they brought in with Richarlison and all these.
Richarlison used to be a very good guy.
He's not been who signs off Timo Werner? Who signs off with what data? You've seen him in the Premier League. You've seen what he produced.
His performance has been woefully inadequate.
So why would you go for him again? You get it. So the recruitment has been so poor, and it has not helped him. I don't know what level of influence he has when it comes to recruitment, but it's been terrible.
And even Maddison, I don't know, all these.
It doesn't even rely on Maddison. Maddison always comes from the bench. So I don't know what is going, because if you're being fair, Maddison doesn't give you a lot of energy. He gives you creativity. But it looks like he prefers players who are going to give him energy. If you look at Bissouma, when they got him for less than 30 million, I was so jealous. But he's gone in there and he's just been average. Yeah, very average. I mean, I think sometimes the kind of team you go to will determine how well you perform. Definitely. Because we spoke about energy some episodes ago. The energy you go and meet in a particular club will determine how well you play. 100%. Currently, I can confidently tell you that Tottenham's energy is down. It's down. It's down. And I don't see them getting anywhere near Europe. No. If they don't change something in the next 12 games. No, I doubt. All right. So let's move on and talk about the number 2 on the table. Okay. Which is Mikel Arteta. Okay. I have criticized Arteta a number of times. And it's for good reasons. I don't hate Arsenal club. I don't hate the coach. But I think that I always say that the club deserves more. Okay. And for me, some of the decisions that he might have taken might have gone against him. I always said I see the energy the Arsenal players play with. I mean, you can't take that away from Arsenal, their style of play and all that. I mean, he and it's good. He's played about 25 games. Lost about 3 of them. Won 14. For us now, maybe the number of wins should have been more than this. Of course, but I think that Arteta being given another season, personally, I don't know what he's going to be doing different. Maybe what might happen different is that he might beef up the team with the necessary strikers, necessary players that they need to take the cup or the EPL trophy. So I don't know what you think. Well, I mean, he said a very interesting statement. I think it is very unnecessary. And that is what has always made certain Arsenal fans are beginning to actually alienate themselves from him because some of the things he says and the things his mentality gets a bit annoying. But for a coach who is trying to push for the league, to come out and make a statement that this season might be over but the next one belongs to us. Who says you are there in the next season? Exactly. No, but actually he believes that if he's able to, the last piece of the puzzle is a top striker. He believes once he brings in a top striker, there's no way they're not winning the league. But it's not guaranteed.
Well, why wasn't that belief there before the season?
I don't know. One, if you are prepared to spend over 60 million on Califiori or whatever it's called, and you are not going to, you didn't think of prioritizing a striker.
Yeah.
You put all your eggs in one basket on Havertz, who is not even proven in the Premier League when it comes to striking. I don't know why he feels that he's. It almost sounds as if he is complaining that the board didn't give him what he wants.
Yeah.
But
so next
you had money to spend, and you chose to strengthen your defense rather than go for the attack.
Yeah.
So next season, as you are strengthening, City is going to strengthen.
Yeah.
Chelsea will strengthen. Liverpool are going to strengthen. So what makes you think that it's a done deal?
Well, I mean, that is why I feel as though that sometimes some of his comments and his statements
brings a lot of unnecessary
pressure. And not just on him, on the players as well.
Yeah.
You see, when you do that, then you start letting your players have less confidence in you.
True.
So I think that Mikel Arteta is actually currently even being criticized by his own Arsenal, the fans of Arsenal.
No, some are calling for his head. Actually.
Yeah.
Some want him out.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel as though that even if you're a fan of a club, sometimes you need to take off that fan cap and just be objective about issues. Because I honestly, as I sit here, I don't know what Arteta is going to do different next season.
His mentality is a problem.
You might have the striker, but like you're saying, your mentality might not give it all.
Yeah. You know, remember when they drew against Nottingham?
Yeah.
And Arteta comes for an interview and says that, well, they are the team that beat Liverpool and we drew against them, so it means we are better. And I'm like, how?
Does that really matter?
Exactly.
Yeah. Does that really matter?
So the mentality is such a big problem that if he doesn't look at it, I mean, they are not going to win anything.
Yeah.
And for me, he'll be lucky to keep the team together for next season. But if they don't win anything next season, it will start scattering.
Well, and you know, we spoke about him getting more players in.
Yeah.
But what he's not guaranteed is actually maintaining some of even his key players. Because during the transfer window, a lot of surprises may spring up.
Well, I mean, I don't know any player in there now, apart from the French players, who may want to leave. Jesus will want to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus looks like he's on his way out. Jorginho, I don't know. I think he's also on his way out. He's talking about bringing in Joshua Kimmich from Bayern. I don't know if they are going to get him.
It's not even a done deal.
It's not. I mean, they are currently talking to him. I don't know whether he's going to want. He is a free transfer.
Yeah, free transfer.
So any club can talk to him, and there's no guarantee that he will pick Arsenal. So he's going to lose some players, even in attack. I don't know between Martinelli and Trossard who is going to stay, because Trossard doesn't look himself. He doesn't look happy. So, I mean, they still have to build.
Why won't Trossard be happy? I think he's gotten enough playing time in Arsenal. And he's been banking in the goals as well.
His body language doesn't look like the guy who came in first. And I remember a couple of comments have come.
He always has this indifferent look on.
Yeah. That looks like, I mean, he may want to move on. Yes. So he needs to refreshen the team and see if he can bring more creativity up front. And it's a lot of work for a project that have gone for 5 years. They still don't seem to be anywhere near the end.
They don't have their acts together.
Exactly. And it's sad, but I mean, I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm actually enjoying it. I hope next.
You are being honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm being objective. I'm speaking to the facts, but I enjoy the mistakes he's making. Because if he had gone in for Osimhen last season, I would have been so jealous. But he didn't, and as much as I could, I was baffled. Why not? I loved it.
Anyway, so we can't talk about the top four without talking about Guardiola.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't do that. I think that we've all spoken time and time again about the performance of Manchester City, how woeful it has been over the period of this season. However, I always say, wherever you find me talking about Guardiola, I always say I never write him off. In as much as the season has been bad for Manchester City, can you imagine? We're saying a season has been bad for them, but they're in the top four. You know,
they are, but it's not guaranteed that they hold on to that. I mean, this is like a very woeful City team whereby out of 27 games, if Guardiola have won just 14, already lost 8.
It's crazy.
This
Manchester is like a
unrecognizable.
Record.
It's not. It's something that I'm sure he kicks himself in his sleep.
Yeah.
This is so unlike him.
Yeah.
But he has to make do with whatever. So right now, he may just be content with top 4, so that at least they have Champions League football next season, and then he rebuilds and see how he can come again stronger.
So I tell you what, right? Looking at the table, we have Liverpool at 67, Arsenal 54, Nottingham Forest 48, and whatnot. And I want you to mark down this episode that is likely Guardiola might end up being second on the table.
Well, I mean, the next 12
for
games
the next 12 games,
but I don't know which players are going to be coming back from injury. I know Rodri has started training. But I doubt if he can make it.
I mean, Rodri is not even part of his plan this season.
I don't think. No, Rodri is trying to fight to come back actually.
Before the
end of the season, yes. If they're able to put a good run together for the next, out of the next 12 games, if they can win comfortably 7, I think they will make the.
So you think the City can go like a whole 12 run winning all the games?
From the current City that we know, it's always unexpected. You don't know what to expect. You get it. Although the last few games have actually been good, they still have to play some of the top teams. They still have to play Arsenal. They have to play Chelsea. They have to play. I don't know if I can say United anymore. So it's going to make it a bit challenging. So they'll drop points. As to how much they drop is what I'm interested to see.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So there are 2 more coaches I want us to discuss.
Yeah.
And this coach I want us to discuss because I feel as though that in as much as his team does very well, I think sometimes he's a bit overhyped, maybe because, I mean, he's English. Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Howe of Newcastle.
Yes.
I mean, Newcastle plays some very good football, but I think at the end of each season, they are not actually at the level or the table where they are supposed to be or where we expect them to be.
Yeah.
This season has been amazing for them. They have some great finishers. Isak is a darling boy of not just Newcastle, but of the Premier League now. What would be your impression of him? Because I think that he's really spoken about a lot of times,
Okay. When Eddie Howe got the Newcastle job, especially after they got the whole injection of capital from new owners, I was surprised that was the coach they decided to go for, because he had left Bournemouth, and that's not such a prestige club that you feel that if you are looking at the new era of Newcastle, he is the man to go
to make some changes.
Yes. But what I like about him is that he's one of the coaches who have not tried to re-engineer the game. You can still see traditional football whereby we are direct. We try to put the ball in the box, and it's been very refreshing to see. Like, he's playing pure Premier League football.
Yeah, pure Premier League football.
So that gives you you want to watch their games because you don't know what to expect. Physicality, pace, and all that. And they have a guy up top who is doing the job, which is
amazing.
Isak.
Amazing.
So it's gone very well for him in terms of whatever. I think with where Newcastle want to go to, as to whether he'll be the man to help them to break into the top 4,
that's another question.
Consistently keep them in the Champions League, win 1 or 2 trophies in there. He hasn't proven that over there.
With the kind of football they are playing, Charlie, they deserve a trophy, man.
They do, but you see, they lose games that you don't expect them to lose. And that is where it gets a bit worrying. So for me, I love Eddie Howe. I think he's one of the most experienced Premier League coaches.
Actually.
He's been also, it's an English coach, one of the only English surviving coaches.
In the APL.
In the APL. So, I mean, for the country, they need him to do well.
They need him to do well.
You understand? Because all the foreign coaches are coming in there and seem to be making a mark. So you want Eddie Howe to actually do well so that at least they can be able to start looking at English coaches for some of the big jobs.
Okay.
So for me, he's not doing bad.
All right, sure. So finally, I want us to talk about the coach at the top. My coach.
Yes.
Liverpool's coach.
Yes.
And Slot.
Yes.
If I'm left to talk about this guy, I mean, I think I might be talking more than necessary. But for me, for playing 28 games, being able to win 20 of them, he's lost only 1 game and 7 draws. I think it's an amazing performance for him as a new coach in the EPL.
I think he's done fantastically well. I still insist that the Premier League has not been very competitive this year at the top, because I would have really want to see City at their best competing against him, so that at least you can be able to measure because Klopp went toe-to-toe with Pep, and Pep, he has earned Pep's respect.
Okay.
And I would have actually wanted Slot to have that opportunity. But it's early days here. This is first season.
Yeah.
And it's good to get some credit in the bank by winning. So that next season, I want to see when teams correct their mistakes and now they go. I want to see the real Slot, whether he'll be able to actually use his strategy to actually do what he's done this season.
Okay. I wouldn't totally agree with you on that.
I think it's Liverpool.
I think he deserves his accolades. Every season has its outcome that are actually not envisaged.
Sure.
So I believe that even we've had a few comments here and there from Guardiola, who has actually really respected the kind of ball or kind of formation he's playing. Next season, yes, of course, every coach is judged every season based on their performance. But for me, I think we should give him his props this season.
Oh, for sure.
He's done very well, regardless of whatever injuries other teams have had or whatever, whether team didn't show up. It could have been worse. Because when Klopp was leaving, we all didn't know the outcome of a new coach coming in. So I think kudos to him. But one thing I agree with you with is that the challenge will be different next season.
Of course.
Yeah. And the challenge will be different because he might not have the players he still has.
He will lose some.
Yes, he will lose some. Then we will also have to see when he goes into the market, based on his formation or what he wants to play, the caliber of players you'll be interested in.
Yeah.
That will say a lot about the next season because then he's in full control of that particular season.
Okay.
Then we can rate him as well for that season.
Great.
Manchester United. Amorim.
As for Amorim, it's regrettable.
Yeah.
I regret for him. I don't know if he regret for himself because I think
he does. His comments says a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
You see, for a very young coach, I think he needs to stick in there and then try and change this because he can't be sacked. If he's sacked, his CV is messed up.
Oh no, he can't be sacked. He just came in.
He just came in, but like I said when we spoke about United, but for how bad the teams below them have been, they would have been in the midst of the relegation. There will be, because if you take away the points that what do you call it? Ten Hag
left. Before
he has played 16 games, he won just 5. That's just what, 20 points?
That's
15 points. Can you imagine? And that's horrible. They scored just about 21 goals.
Yeah.
They conceded 27. It's scary.
The goals they've conceded.
The form they are in is very worrying.
Yeah.
And I you see, for his record, I'm sure he's sitting in a room and saying, "Why did I take this job?" So I don't know whether it was ego, right? To say I can do this.
Yeah.
That has let him down. Did he underestimate how bad things were in there? Because if you sat down and you looked at the caliber of coaches who have actually come in there and then not been able to do the job, he should have known that I'm no bigger than any of these coaches.
Yeah.
But I think for a young, ambitious coach, that was also an opportunity to say, okay, if I go in there and I'm able to turn this around, I basically have so much credit in the bank.
So much.
I could be there for years.
Yeah. But I think what he's doing right now is actually he's holding on for next season. Believe you me, there's not much he can do. He just has to hold on and not get into the relegation zone, which I doubt he will even get there.
Yeah.
So that next season they do what they have to do. Because I really doubt that they expected Amorim to come into the league, take over Manchester United and take them to the top 4. I doubt that.
Not this season.
Yeah, not this season. But I know that what he's trying to do right now is keep his head above water.
Yeah.
Get through to the next season. Then maybe he can bring in his players and change his formation and do what he wants to do. So I think with Amorim, that's
time will judge him.
Yeah. There's one last coach we need to talk about because he's doing amazing things. And he has been in the EPL for some time now.
Yeah.
He was at Arsenal. He actually performed not bad there.
Unai
Emery.
Yes.
Unai Emery at Aston Villa is doing wonderful. Unai Emery at Aston Villa, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
I look at the caliber of players they are bringing in now. I mean, he's actually poised to make some changes in that club. Yeah, and I think so far, so good.
I think what Aston Villa has done fantastically well is that they've actually put all their hope in Unai Emery.
Yeah.
They've trusted him fully. So they've left the club to him.
Yeah.
And so, okay, do your thing. And that have actually given him room to maneuver.
Yeah.
So you can see he has so much power in there, bringing in the players he wants. But for the fact that Champions League has been a big toll on their squad because they don't have a big squad,
they don't actually.
I think they would actually be really doing very well, and they will be comfortably in or around the top 4
for the EPL.
Yes, Unai Emery, when it comes to European tournaments, have always been up there. He's won the Europa League how many times? He's not done great in Champions League, so maybe that would have been where they should have gone because he can win that for them. But I think there are great things happening in that, as you said, and they are not scared to spend.
No, they are not.
They are bringing in some very interesting players. Asensio just came in. They have Rashford on loan who wants to stay.
Rashford wants to stay.
Exactly. So they are gradually building a very young squad that could actually worry over the next few years.
So I think the coaches have their own weakness and their strengths. This year a lot has happened in the EPL. It's still not over yet.
No, it's not.
And I believe that there's a lot of drama about to unfold, dramatic ends.
And also the next 12 games is going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild.
Because most of these teams have to play each other.
And I know that all the lovers of football will be sticking close to their team to watch all these 12 games.
100%.
And First Half Podcast will be here to give you all the necessary commentaries, opinions, and stuff that happens in the last 12 games. You can also always refer to our previous videos that we spoke about what is about to happen in the next 12 games. Because our opinions are always very interesting, I believe. Now, the comment section is there. Let us have your opinions about all that we've discussed. Give us your opinion because, of course, what we say is what we think. Oh, bro.
Yep, definitely.
So thank you for sticking and tuning over here. Cheers.
See you guys.
And sometimes the referee will give you a first warning. Then you do this. Then you do it again. The referee will tell you that's the second time. Then the third time they give you a yellow card. Now, if you are going to do it 3 times, and at each time there's a corner. It simply means that you are putting your team at risk because there's a likelihood that you will be scored from a corner. Jamie Carragher. And Jamie Carragher, to be fair to him, is a former Liverpool player.
You're a legend.
He's a legend. He's a legend in Liverpool. And I respect him.
What he's achieved in the game, he needs to be a bit humble in his opinion.
And more matured.
In his opinion. Because he always tries to drive controversy. And I wasn't surprised when within this week I was doing some research on him and I realized that he's among the top 3 highest paid pundits in the world when it comes to soccer, which means that he's paid to drive controversy.
Guys, welcome to the First Half Podcast. We're here to discuss football as usual. There's a lot of things going on in the football world. So we believe that we would want to share our opinions and delve into some of the matters into detail. You're welcome, my brother.
Thank you.
Charlie Dennis, what are you going?
Charlie Kolo. Very excited to jump into some of these issues. The news are all out there, and there are a lot of things that I have opinion on, and I'd like to share.
I mean, some of them are quite sensitive. We'll be quite emotional on some of them. I will be. But then, I mean, let's get into some of the news that has come up in the world of football. We can look at Bayern Munich. We can look at Bayern Munich. Interesting stuff. Now, you and I sat down one time to have a conversation. We said to ourselves, why on earth will Bayern Munich want to have Vincent Kompany as their coach? And it even took the whole world by surprise.
It did,
because someone who just came out of football, started with Burnley. I mean, he did fairly well. I mean, he was good at Burnley. Then before
he even played as a player coach at Anderlecht.
Anderlecht, that's true. Then we heard Bayern Munich wanted him. I'm like, wow.
And considering the fact that he took Burnley down.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see what this guy can do. And actually, I think he set some records.
He's doing amazing.
He's doing amazing. I mean, 37 games, 27 wins. And it's been crazy.
He's actually on track to send Bayern to their best Bundesliga win in the past 7 years. The records look very good.
And do you know what's crazy? So just look at the past 7 years, the coaches that have been there or were
crazy
there.
Names there.
And you compare to Vincent Kompany.
Actually, even Tuchel just left before.
Exactly, So it just, I don't know whether, and I'll seek your opinion on this. I don't know whether it's just sheer luck, or there's some experience that he took in there. And you know, with Vincent's issue, that's why I keep on saying that when people say that, oh, we can't sack our coach because there are no coaches out there. There are some of these young chaps who have a lot of good things under their sleeves that can actually bring to bear. So I don't know what your opinion is about his performance at Bayern Munich.
Well, you see, when it comes to Company is a leader, natural leader.
Yeah, natural
as
leader.
You see him, his poacher and everything tells you that this guy is a leader.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's worked under some very fantastic coaches over the years. His last one being Pep. And I remember certain interviews that he said that Pep has opened his eye in so many areas of the game that he never
thought about
and knew. And I think it's one of the things that have actually pushed him into management.
That's true.
But then again, it also brings a certain argument to bear that some coaches are actually very good, but just that they don't have the resources. So you see a coach who will be doing very badly in a small team, and then you give them a bigger team, and all of a sudden the same tactics they bring it to quality players, and it's working well. So sometimes when we are judging coaches, we need to be a bit careful, and that also lets you know, if not for his reputation and where he's come from and the things that he's played, would he have gotten that opportunity, or the tarnish or the whatever stigma of Burnley would have actually drawn the career path that he would have gone, whereby he'll be lingering in lower teams. We've seen Steven Gerrard come in. It's not going so well. He was with Aston Villa. Lampard has come to Chelsea. It didn't go well. Is it their fault, or there are things that didn't go well that was really not their fault?
Like with regards to financial resources.
Exactly. So there are a lot of things that need to be questioned and looked at when it comes to, because if you look at the materials he has at the Bayern, like some crazy players, Musiala, Kane, crazy players there that he can actually do amazing with. These are professionals at the top of their game that he doesn't need to do much. I see. So it's really working, and I'm happy for him.
So one thing I want us to also delve into when it comes to him as Vincent Kompany. You know, we've always said that, you know, players are always expected, especially the top teams. Players who play for these top teams are always expected to be coached by certain caliber of coaches. And if you are not there, maybe commanding the respect from them will be challenging for you. Then therefore, your results will be questioned. But it looks as though that he just gelled into the team so quickly. All the players actually are doing what he's expecting them to do. He has not had issues. Well, of course, we are not in there, but of course, if some of them were that damning, it would have been in the public space. He has not had that issues with like players who are trying to challenge his authority and all that. So I think there's something good he's doing in there.
Well, I think football is not just about the technical play. If you are not a leader naturally, you can have the best football management ability, and it's not going to show, because it's not just about the game, the man management, your character in defeat, and all these things. Players are looking at you. He is somebody who benefited from the fact that because of his character and who he stands for,
he has that charisma.
He will command the dressing room from day one, even though he had nothing behind him as a coach. So he would have come in, and this is an opportunity for him to actually make it work. So I think that is what opened the doors for him. He was very firm from the beginning. If he doesn't want to, you are out. You're out. And this is what I want to do. And he didn't focus. And you see, if you don't have confidence, although I've not achieved that, I know what I want. And the club says they are backing me. So it's either you are with me or you are out. And that is where the balance comes in. Some come in there and they are not very, very confident. And they are not able to put their foot on the ground from day one. And then they start getting away from you when some few bad results come in. But if you go in there and you are firm, and they see it on a page that whatever you are asking us to do is working. They all get behind you and they actually start winning. Because if you have a striker like Harry Kane up there, you don't have to do much to win.
Good. But you know, the good thing is, I think you are right, because your attitude towards your leadership role is very important. And as much as he's done well, Bayern Munich has lost some critical games this season as well. But then they still showed up the next game and they did much more. You know, and so I think that Vincent Kompany, kudos to that young man. I believe that people like him would give other young coaches enough opportunity, enough motivation, know that they don't need to be an old person before they get the opportunity.
You know who I'm happy for in all of this?
Well, who?
Harry Kane.
Okay.
You know, there was this stigma, everybody was laughing at him that wherever he goes, he doesn't get trophies.
Yeah.
It looks like this year,
this time around,
he's actually going to be able to put some trophy down, because last season, everybody was laughing that for a team that always wins, and you say, okay, now Kane is here, and for once, he's going to win.
Trophy then
Leverkusen took it from them. So, yeah.
Anyway, so I think in the same, we will still stay at Bayern Munich, and we'll talk about Kimmich. Yes. All the stories about Kimmich leaving.
I have a problem with teams who don't treat their legends well. Kimmich has given his all for Bayern. He's been there forever. He's been there for all the big things that they won. I don't understand why all of a sudden there is this thing that they've pulled. You're actually trying to extend his contract.
Yeah.
And now you've pulled it. I don't know what could have gone on in the negotiation table. I don't know whether it is him or his agent who have done something that the club doesn't see well.
To the club. Yeah.
But it's a bit weird. Why they will let him go like that?
It is because when you talk about Bayern Munich, then the first name that comes to your mind is Kimmich.
One of the big names.
Yeah.
Kimmich, Müller, these are the players.
But then you and I have always said that sometimes some of these decisions that go on in the boardroom has actually business reasons behind it. 100%. They tie it to figures and all these things. Yeah. So sometimes because we are football fans, our emotions and our sentiments comes to play. But the business guys, when they sit in the boardroom, they take these decisions for safe. And of course, you said something that's very profound. Sometimes some of these agents also are factors that we actually
they look at their interest in the negotiation.
They look at their interest, and maybe if it's not going too well for them, they might decide to pull out. And we might not necessarily know.
But you see, this is where it gets tricky. You see, it's the same thing with Liverpool.
Yeah.
When you leave a player to get to the end of his contract, any little misunderstanding during the negotiation, you lose a very good player.
Yeah.
So it's always good to start a conversation when they have about a year or more left to go. But when they are so close to the transfer window, an agent will say that, okay, if we go somewhere else, this is free money.
Yeah.
So renewal, I may not get much.
But a
if
new
you're
contract,
going somewhere else, I can convince my player, tell him new challenges. You've done everything at Bayern. Why not just win? And I see the same thing happening with Salah and
Van Dijk. Yeah. I know sometimes some of the decisions that goes on behind closed door, we do not know.
Yeah.
But I think the board and the management sometimes leaves it to so much of a later time, a bit too late, then it becomes of a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into this. I think our own godfather, Mourinho,
the father of football.
Yeah, the father of football has been banned 4 games.
Yeah.
And I think a fine of £35,000. Yes. For some racism comments that he made that personally I feel as though that was out of no malice. I think he just said it because if I look at the number of African players,
you
can't even say African, I'm going too far. The number of black players that have played under Mourinho and Mourinho have made them who they are today. I think it would be far-fetched to actually think that Mourinho is a racist. So I was a bit disappointed that they took his comments out of proportion. But I think that it's also fair. It's a football world.
Well, I think my opinion, when I heard the news, I was surprised because I didn't expect it to come to that point. Because I mean, for now that racism is such a sensitive issue in football, I don't know why anybody would throw that jab out. But like I said, it's football banter.
Football
if
banter.
You don't win on the pitch, let's try and win in other areas. And I even read his post. That's far before this whole incident where he said he's not able to even come to Africa anymore because they love him too much in Africa. When he goes on the streets, he's never able to have his peace of mind. Children, whoever, everybody wants to take pictures. They love him so much, and he loves going there. So, I mean, Mourinho will be the last person you can associate racism with. And what he said was taken out of context.
Totally.
If you know Mourinho, and you know how he talks. So if in an interview, Mourinho is telling you that, oh, this is a team we are all challenging for the trophy. And for this draw, it meant so much to them that even the bench was jumping around like monkeys. I don't think that on the bench there were all color of players there.
So why do you?
Why would you just limit it to racism? If not, you are trying to be listen. So what I've heard is that he has also actually started a suit. He's going to sue the club for defamation of character. So that thing doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon because he also feels offended that although I didn't say it in that context, you're trying to pull me in that dark place, and I'm not going to allow it. So, and I understand. I actually accept.
Yeah, of course.
If he goes out to suit, it means that he's taking the issue
seriously. And I agree with him. And with the last episode, we discussed about how soft most of the current coaches are. Yeah. And I think Mourinho's approach is what's supposed to be.
And Mourinho is a hardcore old time.
Yeah. He's actually a legend. You can't take that away from him. And I think that for a coach of his caliber, issues like this shouldn't be gone taken lightly. So I think he should pursue this to the latter. Because I don't believe that even most of these football pundits who are actually having discussion on this matter really believe that he was trying to be racist by mentioning that.
What I appreciate is that one player have come out to seriously defend him. And that is Didier Drogba.
Drogba has come out.
And the connection there is that he's played under Mourinho and he's actually played in Galatasaray as well. So he came out and said, guys, I mean, you know that this doesn't mean that's not what he meant.
That's not what
we are very close to winning the title. Why don't we focus and stop some of these things? This is somebody I've taken like my father. How can my father, a black man, my father, be a racist? You see, and I like when somebody will say it wasn't necessary or wasn't. But some of these things, because of how sensitive
it's very sensitive.
It's gotten, it needs to be it needs to be done. Because the next thing you know, they are talking about four games ban, 35,000 pounds. You never know how far he may lose a big deal because of this. He could even lose some of his endorsement deals.
It's actually a big deal.
It's a serious thing. So he needs to defend himself. Because he could lose some great money from this.
And I'm expecting more players other than just Didier Drogba coming out to speak, because I'm saying that Mourinho has helped a lot of players.
Mourinho has come out so many times to say that he prefers the African players to the European because the African players who play their heart out on the field.
I mean, personally, I feel as though that the football world should cut him some slack. Mourinho is not as bad as we think. We shouldn't take his comment out of context. So at least totally. So now we move on to the other topic, subject.
Elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, which for me it has been lingering on for some time. But I think this time around, when it was mentioned, we chose, the football world or people in the football fraternity chose not to let it go. Carragher, Jamie Carragher. And Jamie Carragher, to be fair to him, is a former Liverpool player.
You're a legend.
He's a legend. He's a legend in Liverpool. And I respect him. I respect him a lot. But then you see his comments, and of course, I think most of us have heard what he spoke about.
I think the fact he's probably with Egypt and he's probably not playing in the major tournaments as such, or maybe got a great chance to win. I think it's either the Champions League or the major tournament. Normally, the player who excels.
Very unwarranted.
And very unwarranted. And he's speaking to a whole continent. I believe that most of the time, even when you play World Cup tournament, you should actually watch the performance of some of these African teams. So you can't just sit there and say that AFCON is not so significant. It's a little tournament, and for that matter, it shouldn't be regarded. So when I heard Mikel Obi and other African players speak, that was the first time I've heard Mikel Obi so upset, using the F word, curses, and all that. And I think it's you can't blame them so much.
I think Carragher talks too much, and he's somebody who haven't done so much in the game. We understand that he did a lot for Liverpool, but for what he's achieved in the game, he needs to be a bit humble in his opinion,
and more matured
in his opinion, because he always tries to drive controversy. And I wasn't surprised when within this week I was doing some research on him and I realized that he's among the top 3 highest paid pundits in the world when it comes to soccer, which means that he's paid to drive controversy. So always when he speaks, he needs to make sure that he actually goes viral. But I think this time around, he actually hit below the belt. And as I get the point he was trying to make in terms of trying to say why Salah.
He was trying to in context.
Exactly. But in his effort to explain what he meant, he ended up actually downplaying what AFCON stands. And what it actually stands for, the African continent. And I'm very, very proud of most of the legends of the game in Africa.
Very, very proud.
Come out very boldly and speak against that, because I'm sure most of them or some of them may have some form of relationship with him, but it didn't spare him. I've seen JJ Okocha speak.
Yeah.
Mikel Obi, as he said, has spoken. El Hadj Diop has, and all of them has not minced their words. Because the AFCON, I mean, if the game in Europe, let's say even the EPL, how much money do they make from African viewers?
Yeah.
Football is a world game.
Yeah.
You understand? And the moment we start bringing divisions, it's going to go
you can't say that the European games and the EPL can be the same if the whole of African continent pulls out of engaging.
It can't be the revenue.
Yeah, the revenue.
You understand? So for you to go and make such a regulatory statement and think that they should let it slide, because I think he's come out to try and downplay what he said. Yeah. But still, it didn't really strike home, because it was unwarranted from the beginning for you to even talk like that.
Yeah.
You know, the AFCON is a very prestigious institution. They've been able to play some. I mean, we've gotten some serious talents. Yeah. And most of the European teams actually scout from the AFCON. We've seen games whereby players are now, after the tournament, getting good teams.
But most of our top players, the Asians, the Stephen Appiahs, I mean, most of these, they were picked. They watch AFCON, they realize that,
there's talent there.
There's
and
talent
the talent in Africa is not a joke.
At all.
We had some crazy African talents over the years. Yaya Toure, what do you call it? ASEAN.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so many of them.
And Samuel Eto'o.
They've come in there and they made their mark and they contributed to the game.
Yeah.
The game of football, I love the fact that we are trying to actually strike racism out of it.
Yeah.
And
it's very important.
It's something that, I mean, although if you are not being affected, you think it's trivial, it's not that big of a deal.
Actually a big deal.
But if racism goes to you, I mean, it's directed at you, you actually see where it's coming from. So when I see games whereby because of a goal, it doesn't matter color, and an Asian, an African, an European are hugging, they are bleeding for each other and all that. Football brings so much.
Yeah.
Football has stopped wars.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. People have used football to bring unity in their country. So some of these things were not really warranted. And if you compare AFCON to their Euros, there's no difference.
There's no difference. I mean,
the only difference might be that you have
maybe the infrastructure. Yeah.
So that is it. But when we all meet on the European games and whatever, you see the African players stand out.
Yeah.
They are not playing West because the AFCON is bad or African football is bad. You see, so I think it was very, very unnecessary. I like the backlash that he has gone. I'm actually expecting more of his European pundit colleagues to also come out.
Yeah.
And actually, I've seen some people actually come out to downplay and tell him that he didn't speak well. So that one is actually good. It needs to continue. So at least let's respect the game. It's a game of football. We are under one body of FIFA. You understand? And I don't think one is better than the other.
Okay.
Some may have more facilities than others, but it doesn't make them better.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. So I wouldn't say a lot, but I believe that football has brought a lot of nations together. Football actually makes sure that as human beings, we understand that we're all the same, we're all one. And for that matter, we shouldn't entertain such comments, no matter how trivial they may sound or they may seem.
Yeah, do you know the beauty of football?
I believe that.
Yeah, do you know the beauty of football? I think the World Cup, a couple of African teams were knocked out and whatever. I think it was left with either Egypt and I think Morocco and I think Nigeria also.
Yeah, we'll go to Morocco.
And a country like Ghana, with all our form of banter between Nigeria, Jollof and whatever, I saw a lot of people actually rooting for Nigeria to do good, Morocco to do good. You could see that it was now about Africa. It wasn't about a single country anymore. And that's the power of football.
It's very powerful. So I think people pass that comment. So I think that Jamie Carragher should eat humble pie.
He needs to just apologize and stop trying to defend.
Just say that that's not what he meant, and he's just sorry, and we all move on. Because if he doesn't, these little comments, if they are not managed well, will cause so much destruction in the world. In the world of football. So Jamie Carragher, I mean, you're a Liverpool legend, but I mean, we show some respect.
You can do better.
Yeah, you can do better. You can do better.
The other thing that I want us to look at, I think it just dropped in yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know whether it is important, but there's this new rule that has come in football whereby they've now passed a law that if a keeper holds the football for more than 8 seconds, the referee it's will award a corner.
Charlie, this is long overdue.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's unnecessary.
No, it's not, because you and I have watched games where first half 30 minutes, a keeper is trying to waste time.
Is it? You see,
what is that?
Sometimes a keeper catches the ball. He's trying to wait for his players to get in position. We are trying to counter attack. So maybe I hold it a few minutes. Either I'm going to throw or kick it to the right place. And I don't see a keeper holding the ball for more than 10 seconds anyway.
Oh, but rather, come on.
Okay.
Keepers have the strategy now. They intentionally place the ball at the wrong place, or maybe they give it to a player who, during that time, maybe the player not the one supposed to kick. The player gives the ball back to him. He's walking to place it at the place where he's supposed to kick the ball.
All these are tactics.
Yeah, they are. And sometimes the referee will give you a first warning.
Yeah.
Then you do this. Then you do it again. The referee will tell you that's the second time. Then the third time they give you a yellow card. Now, if you are going to do it 3 times, and at each time there's a corner.
Yeah.
It simply means that you are putting your team at risk, because there's a likelihood that you will be scored from a corner.
Okay. So does it mean that if the ball is with a keeper, but not by hand, but by feet, it's allowed to, if he can hold it for 20 seconds, it's fine?
No, it's not fine.
Why?
We're not. No. You see, I think they the new rule didn't explain whether if they are holding the ball by hand or by feet.
They say if a goalkeeper holds the ball.
Yeah, but when you're holding the ball, in football you can be holding. Yeah, in football you can be holding the ball, not necessarily in your hand.
But if I decide to take a risk, and as I'm a goalkeeper, I decide to hold the ball, dribble or whatever, and it takes me 20 seconds. What's your business?
No, but this is what I believe. I might be wrong. When you hold the ball and you are, let's say you've come out of your 18, you are stringing passes. You are not holding on to the ball. You are not holding play. You see, I think the whole point is that holding play.
But the point is that when they have the ball in the box, players are allowed to press.
Yeah,
they press inside the box.
No, it depends. When the keeper has not touched the ball. Spot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, when he kicks it from the spot, so I kick it to my defender.
Yeah, once you've kicked it, the game is ongoing.
Yes, so that one, if I decide to hold on to the ball for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and you don't press.
No, but that one is not part. You see, I think we know when you are giving those passes in the 18,
yes,
and players are allowed to press, it means that the game is ongoing. You're not holding.
So now you're not holding the ball.
No, you're not holding the ball.
Okay.
But then when it's in your 18 and you are expected to kick the ball for play to resume, and you are choosing not to kick because you are trying to act like you are communicating to somebody to move, you are doing all those gestures, then I agree with it.
Yeah.
Because some of these things are so unnecessary. And you see, the truth of the matter is that, let's say you're playing a second half game.
Yeah.
They've given maybe 6 more minutes after 90 minutes. Sometimes if you are very observant, if let's say after that 6 minutes is up, it's very hardly that the referee adds so much more time.
Yeah.
But you realize that the keepers waste so much time during that period.
You see, where I'm a bit not comfortable with it. The game of football is simple. And if we let these regulatory bodies, some of whom have never even played the game, become too strict and come in with too many rules and introduction of VAR and all these things, it gets to a point where football will not become simple anymore. Because right now,
it's too late now.
We're getting to a point where, you see, if you look at a game like rugby or American football, there's so many rules that if you're a new beginner and you want to learn the game so that you'll be a fan, you are bored.
Yeah.
I've seen rugby so many times. I see a bunch of men jumping on each other on one ball, whether the ball is supposed to go left or right. I have no idea what is going on.
I think you're not interested.
Because if I want to learn, it seems too complicated for me. But football is so simple that, I think when I started watching football, the only thing I didn't understand was offside. But now I came to understand it, like, okay, it makes sense. You understand? But for a very young age, I never understood what this offside meant.
Yeah.
You understand? There's no other thing that's complicated about football. But right now we are bringing in so many technical stuff that if you are not careful, getting new people to join the fan base becomes more difficult. So they should be very careful about the kind of things they are introducing into the game.
And I keep on saying that it's too late to make this comment because once VAR came inside, we were out of the old normal football that we all know. Because I always talk about VAR. Look, it's a human being that draws the line 100%. To determine the offside.
Yeah.
So there will still be a little bit
human error.
You know, but some of these things, I believe that now with the investment that has come into football now, you would have no choice but some of these things coming in. Wow. And that is where the problem is, because there's so much money invested into football, and we feel as though that we need to correct some things because of that. And also, I believe that before they come out with such rules, I want to believe that they've made an observation over the period. They've looked at the pros and the cons before they've decided to take this decision. Yeah. Because sometimes it's quite unbearable in some games. Yeah. You know, the keeper will do this so many times, and it actually affects the game. Yeah. You know, so I don't know whether they finally passed that rule or it's yet to be passed. But I'll be
very interested. They said the rule was passed by the International Football Association board, and I'll be very interested to know who makes up that board. Is it as international as they say? Because some of these rules come in and you realize that they don't apply in every part of the world. Because even VAR now, most countries are still not using it because the equipment is so expensive.
I talk about your country.
Well, I mean, in my country, most African countries, even the Asian, South American, most of them are still not adapted to because they can't afford it. So if you are going to make something a generic part of the game, make sure that the tools are affordable. Available, otherwise, it becomes very difficult that a young player who play all his life, now he's 19, 20, he's gotten a professional contract, and this is the first time he's experiencing VAR. So he becomes a disadvantage. It becomes a disadvantage to him,
his career,
compared to those who have been used to it since they were young age. So FIFA needs to invest in these things and make sure that everybody has.
Because then you have old players who used to bang in a lot of goals.
Yeah, because they didn't have they've learned the technique.
But now the moment you run, they tell you're outside. Your goal has not been.
Sometimes you watch a game and one striker can get 6 offsides, and you're like, what is he doing in training?
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. So I believe that, I mean, we're all waiting to see how things unfold in that particular area. Then we can actually see whether it's going to be helpful or not. Yeah. Yes. So I think lastly we'll just touch briefly on what Amorim said.
Yeah.
When Garnacho misbehaved, and I think his comments were a bit too soft for me as a coach who's supposed to stamp the authority.
Yeah.
His comment was that Garnacho is supposed to buy dinner for the team.
Very embarrassing.
Yeah, very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. I think that he's still trying to be the darling boy.
Yeah.
And instead of putting his foot down on some of the misbehaviors that comes out of these players, he's not able to do so.
Maybe it's a problem of, Amorim is now at a situation where he's desperate. And it's like sometimes you have one of your star boys.
Yeah.
You need him let's say, assuming Messi was an indisciplined player.
Yeah.
And you need him. And the only way you have to discipline him is that he sits on the bench. You are going to undermine your power as a coach.
Yeah.
So probably that's why most coaches have now invented things like £500 fine, 200 fine there. You are late for a team meeting. And all, because if you go for the ultimate that I won't play you, you're actually hurting the team and hurting yourself. So they have to resort to some of They have to resort to some of these things as if
but is Garnacho so important to the Manchester United?
I think with his, what has happened because of what happened with Rashford,
he's being careful.
He doesn't want to start introducing a trend about himself.
Okay.
That his go-to is that he just starts taking players out because he doesn't know how to manage. So I think that is where the issue is. I'm thinking that there are stronger words that are going to be said between the two of them in private. But of course, to the media, he's trying to make it a lesser issue. He's going to buy dinner and all this kind of thing. But I'm sure he's going to run some 100 laps around the pitch before training.
Anyway, I mean, it's interesting, but we hope that things get much better for Amorim.
Coaches need to be stronger.
They need to be stronger.
Because those days, all the big names who have won stuff, they were very strict.
Very, very, very firm.
You can't achieve anything when you don't have a discipline.
That's true. That's true. All right, guys. So these are our opinions on what is happening in the football world currently. We would like you to share your opinions. Of course, especially with the AFCON matter. Because we are Ghanaians and we're Africans and we felt as though that it was very below the belt. Let us know what you think. Continue to subscribe. We'll bring you a lot of content that you would enjoy. All right, cheers.